I dig it. Let's talk about Ron Holland real quick, because next segment, we're going to dive into the free agent market. I got a game. Snatch or scratch coming up next. I'm going to put some options in front of you. And there's some hypothetical scenarios. Just let it go. Just snatch or scratch.
Okay.
We'll explain. But let's talk about this Ron Holland press conference, Lloyd. What was it like down there? Tee up your video.
You know what?
I like this kid.
You know what? This setting was probably the most intimate setting we've had for a Detroit Pistons press conference. It overlooked the practice court. It was in kind of this ball type room. Every time I see this room, they're always having some type of a banquet there. Generally, when we have press conferences, it's either in the smaller media room or it's in the big practice facility, and you got hundreds of people there. This one was really cool setting for Ron Holland and his family that were in attendance, as well as I saw Jared Jack there, got to talk to him for a little bit.
Shout out.
Saw a lot of our other media in attendance as well. And you know what? Shout out, bro, there were several people who were like, yo, man, hey, look, we watch our show. Keep doing your thing. Shout out to you all as well. But it was a really, really, really cool setting. With everything that was going on, didn't get there until about 5 minutes before the press conference. And they started on time this time.
Hey.
But shout out to Pistons PR for holding a seat for your boy.
Oh, yeah.
It was dope.
Big time.
Remind Neil of this.
I definitely will.
Just so he knows.
Hey, shout out to Neil, though, man. Shout out to Neil. He's put in a lot of kind words for Kool-Aid. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. But I got to ask a question during the regular press conference, and then after, during the media scrums, got to ask a couple more questions to him. And obviously, the question is going to be based a little bit more on what's already been asked as well. So I had 6 or 7 questions. First 3 or 4 were asked before I even got the mic. It's based on seniority. And so
I know. If everything you want to ask, if you don't get that first question, which is usually directed to one of the more tenured guys, you got to have options 4, 5, and 6 ready. Ready.
So you mind if I tee up? It's 3 videos. They're all pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right. The first one is one with him and Trajan up on the desk. That's where within the press conference room. And I was able to ask him, what does it mean? You know, because Trajan Langdon had kind of described what it meant to be the type of player he's looking for. So, you know, we say Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell guys, these are Trajan Langdon guys. He talked about who those players need to be, not just on the court, but in the weight room as well. It was interesting that he went there first, and then he said also who they are as people off the court. And so to understand the value that he places on those types of people, what does it mean to be the first addition by this front office to where the Pistons are trying to go? And he gave a pretty good answer.
Hi, Ron. Brandon Dent, Woodward Sports, and hello again, Trajan. Welcome to Detroit, Ron, and to your family. Hearing everything that Trajan values in a player, what does it mean to you to be the first addition to this front office?
It means a lot. It means that he sees a lot within me, potentially just being able to help this franchise out, and it shows that I get to come here and be myself to the best of my ability, and that's not really, hard to do. I'm a hard-working person, passionate about the game, passionate about anything I do. Really into the community. Can't wait to really get into things when it comes to the Detroit community. But I think it says a lot about who he is, who I am, and really what what I'm going to turn into as a basketball player and as a man.
He is so well composed.
I like him.
Very composed, very sure of his answers, and he pushes back against the notion that this is a weak draft. He said that he does understand that there's no clear number one, but he thinks that instead of saying it's because this is a weak draft, he's betting more on the potential on someone like himself. He still keeps his humble disposition, but he's sure of who he is as a player. He knows where he has to improve. I got to talk to, shout out to Coach Jay. One of the people connected to his camp was in some of his draft photos as well. Shout out to Ashton and Cannon as well. And he said, look, Ron Holland knows what he has to improve on. He knows he has to improve on that shooting. He has the right mechanics there. And it's just about kind of making that transition from the high school three-point to the NBA three-point line while you're still going through your strength and your development. So, you know what? When you're talking about picking in this draft, which a lot of people said, you know what? Just whatever, this draft is not that good. When you're talking about picking this draft, it's for the potential that a guy like Ron Holland can bring to the table. He was once the number 1 overall prospect.
He's Max Clark. He's Max. It's going to be a couple years till he starts coming into his own, but he's got as good an upside as anybody in this entire draft, including Sarr and including Risache.
Yeah, and you know what? I asked him about that. Do you have the first video I sent through? I was able to ask him about that.
That's nasty, by the way.
That is
nasty.
Yeah. I like that.
I like that.
To the people who aren't familiar with your game here in Detroit,
Yes, sir.
who is Ron Holland?
Ron Holland, energetic person, you know what I'm saying? Kind of on the court, willing to do whatever it takes to win, whether it's score 40, whether it's score 0, and just play defense the whole game, get a lot of rebounds, just do whatever it takes to win. I feel like I'm really versatile. I'm able to do anything that my coach needs me to do.
Bling, bling.
I love
Every
it.
time I come around, I see you bling, bling.
Hey.
Chain.
Listen, you know
out.
what?
Your chain hang low.
Iced out, man. But it was done so tastefully.
Yes. Yeah. He's
I
looked.
liked it.
His fit has been nice.
Yeah.
Both draft night
Oh, yeah.
and during this press conference. Don't have to worry about his pregame swag. And now
Yep.
it's about what's on the court. He told us who is Ron Holland. He gave us an answer.
We like to hear those answers.
You know what
Yeah.
I love best? He's like, look, man, whether I'm scoring 40 or whether I'm scoring 0, I'm playing defense the whole entire game.
Gotta love it.
The entire game.
Oh,
He
you
could have
gotta
said, yeah,
love
I'm going to focus on defense. It's about making sure you're putting yourself in a position to be that guy the entire game. And that was one thing. If you want to talk about all the talking heads, all the scouts, and all the people who followed this draft, the one common thread you will find is that Ron Holland has the potential to be a great NBA defender. Everyone said that this is one of his best strengths. He has the footwork. He has the instinct. He has the measurables. When you're talking about a guy who can not just play his defend man to man, but also help side and protect the rim a little bit, that's where you start to say, you know what? I see what this team is starting to do. What you have to do if you're the Detroit Pistons is wherever he is in his development, you can't make plans in the future for where you think he may be. What we see with the Detroit Lions is they'll pick somebody that they believe should be able to do something, but they also say, hey, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, figure it out. Yeah. And that's where I'm hoping the Pistons are at right now. The Pistons, and I'll contrast this with Troy Weaver. Troy Weaver said, you know what? Since we got Osar Thompson, we don't really want some of these other guys. We don't want to bring in somebody that can block their development or their playing time. With Trajan Langdon, I'm hoping it's more a situation where it's like, hey, we like Ron Holland, and we also like this 3 or this wing guy in free agency as well. But so far, so good. And I know the last clip we got of Ron Holland, we were able to ask him about his connection with Cade Cunningham, which I do believe, and I wonder how much it does play a role in him being here right now, too.
Let's talk about
Don't let her do it, man. Brand new flat screen, 74-inch. Don't let her do it.
Don't let her do it, man.
Don't let her do it.
Hey,
You got a shout out, KG?
Yeah, big shout out, Just Football Academy Australia in the chat. Hi, guys, from down under. Can't wait for Pistons basketball to recommence. Lions football will make it easier to be patient once they kick off. Hey, shout out to you, man, all the way from Australia.
Shout out,
Let's
man.
go.
Hey,
Christ,
we like
love.
this.
Let's
Shout
go.
out.
We got
That's dope.
Aussie.
Yeah.
Go, man.
I'm not
Yeah.
drinking out the shoe, though.
What was his name again? Or his or her?
It was, hold on.
Just play football.
Just Football Academy Australia.
Hell yeah. We got to connect
go.
you. Maybe there's a little collaboration in the midst with you and Chef Talks Lions, aka the All Grit podcast. He's in Melbourne. I don't know where you are, but hey, thanks for tuning in. I know it's like tonight
what time it
at
is
the
over
moment.
there.
It's late for you. It's getting late.
Late as hell.
Shout out. But let's hop back into this.
man.
Ron
That's
Holland, last question you had at the press conference,
Yes,
and then I
sir.
have some free agent hypotheticals for you.
Yeah. We gotta jump into
Hypotheticals.
it. But shout out to Ron Holland, man, for taking the time, he and his family, and giving the media all the time to ask all the questions, and he answered them quite well. One of the things that was really intriguing to me was hearing about his connection with Cade Cunningham, kind of behind the scenes. Some of our sources and some of the people we're connected to kind of reached out as well and said, yeah, there is a connection here. They're both Texas kids. They've had some experience playing in the past, and got to ask Ron Holland about that as well.
I like that.
Yep, and I know you spoke a little bit about your connection with Cade. Can you elaborate that on a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. My freshman year, Cade was a senior at Montverde. We played against each other in Hoop Fest. And then in middle school, I used to work out with him a lot. We was in the gym. I don't remember what the gym was called, but me and him had a really good connection. And I can't wait to get that connection back.
Yeah, so they're in similar circles in terms of the camps and the coaches that they're around and some of the trainers. And they got opportunities to play against each other in high school as well as in some extracurricular basketball leagues. And so this is a pick that I am certain that the Cade Cunningham camp is happy with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I believe they believe and trust in the potential of a Ron Holland.
Basketball is one of those sports, other than maybe like a quarterback to receiver connection.
Yeah.
Nothing really in baseball. And there might be some of this in hockey. I'm just not as well versed in it. But playing with someone before, even if it's a couple years in advance, having that comfortability on the floor, just that especially a guy like Cade, knowing where someone's going to be on the floor, or from Ron Holland's perspective, knowing that the type of playmaker Cade Cunningham is, the type of pass-first guy he is, always expecting the ball. That seems easy or natural, especially to NBA players, but it's not. Especially, I don't know the whole history of how Ron Holland came up and AAU versus high school versus this and that, but a lot of times there's a lot of ISO ball going on, a lot of standing around in basketball today. So for guys to be prepared to play with a guy like Cade Cunningham, prepared to constantly be moving because at any moment you're going to get the ball.
Yeah,
that's just not naturally in everybody. So I like that they have a history together.
Yeah, I do, especially when you know that Cade Cunningham is getting this max. One of the questions that was asked of Cade Cunningham at the exit interviews is, would you like to, and do you think you should have more of a say-so in what happens with affairs going forward from the front office? At the time, obviously, Troy Weaver was here. Now it's Trajan Langdon. And to know that this is a move that they're very, very, very happy about, it makes me a little bit more optimistic. For me personally, obviously, I'm going to report on what the organization sees in guys like Ron Holland, what the organization believes in bringing in a person like Tim Hardaway Jr. Do I want a different free agency kind of pace? I do. I wanted them, but we've talked about it. I'm not going to change on that. I believe they need to go out there and take all the swings in the world at some of these kind of disgruntled star players or work out something with these teams up against kind of the cap, or the apron. But they're not going that route. Trajan Langdon has come in, and you got to be fair. He's been honest to this.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it this route, then I just pray that you're going to be transparent and honest. And Trajan Langdon said, this is the route we're going to go.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to look at these young players a little bit more and probably put them in a little bit better situation because we think they weren't really put in that situation last year. We're going to look to take on assets, even in the free agency market. We're going to look. We're going to monitor. We're going to do our due diligence, but really going to keep ourselves in position to take on bad contracts of players that can play and help us right now, but for draft capital. That's what their game plan is for at least the next few years. And they've been open and honest about that. And now we can just only really assess them on not if they're doing what I want them to do, but if they're following through on the plan that they state. Because if it takes time to build a foundation, it just takes the time to build a foundation. Rod Beard talked about this before too. When you're excavating something, even if the foundation is already poor, which there's a little bit of foundation, but we know there's some cracks and some things that got to be reset. And that's going to take a little bit of time. And I believe that Trajan wants to do this thing the right way, not skip any steps, which was his quote.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to see play out.
Yeah, and taking on those expiring contracts. There are a couple vets that are going to be floating around. We've already seen Chris Paul get waived by the Warriors
to the Spurs.
Sign with the Spurs.
Man, what a deal.
Yeah.
We saw
that's a pairing.
Yeah,
Andre Drummond go to the 76ers.
Yeah.
KCP to the Magic.
3 years, $66 million. Paul George.
Yeah, that just
4 years,
last
212.
Got that bag.
How much money has he going to be making in his NBA contract?
You talking about the Kirk Cousins of the NBA?
Yeah, Paul George.
That's Paul George. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not. How about Kevin Love getting 2 years from the Heat? I don't know. He had 2 years left.
I'm hoping the Pistons find a way to stay in on this Jonas Valanciunas.
He's gone too.
Man.
He went to the Wizards.
Yeah,
he
did.
Yeah,
that's 3 years,
right.
$30 million.
Shout out to Troy Weaver, man. They out there getting it in at the Wizards, man. Alex Sarr.
And the wildest.
Jonas Valanciunas.
We like to think, and I know there are some people in the chat that think the Pistons are a most dysfunctional franchise in the league.
Yeah.
Or irrelevant. What about the Chicago Bulls? Patrick Williams, 5 years, $90 million.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they're doing, but I got a situation for you. The Clippers, they're shopping Russell Westbrook.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid, he's a tell-em guy.
Mm-hmm.
For the $5 million he gets paid, would you take Westbrook on the Pistons?
Hey, listen, it's been what's been pondered around. Look, the Pistons have been rumored to have interest in Westbrook in the past, and this was an interesting hypothetical to me, especially given the fact that he and Jaden Ivey have such a close relationship. Not just as it relates to mentoring, but also as it relates to training, and you can see the similarities in their styles of playing their game. When you're talking about the potential of bringing in a vet who, at this stage, who I think Westbrook is probably ring chasing, yes, I do. But at $5 million, and the LA Clippers, after he kind of accepted his player option, said, you know what, they're going to look to the rumors, they're going to look to trade him. Then instantly, my brain started thinking, what would that look like here? Because right now, what is the backup point guard spot for the Detroit Pistons?
True. But do you want a backup point guard that can't shoot? I mean, it's a lot of good that comes with Russell Westbrook, and this is by no means Russell Westbrook hate. I love Russell Westbrook a lot, man. Like, I'm a big Westbrook fan, man, and he does a lot of things good, and I feel like he does get the short end of the stick in the public. He gets the short end of the stick in the public view, but just with this team, I mean, yes, he would be a good mentor to some of the young guys. You know he's going to come in, he's going to give 100% every game, which is good, but it's just some of the things he does on the floor. The turnovers, I don't think we need more turnovers. Cade already turns the ball over a fair amount. There's the no shooting aspect of this as well. So, I mean, I just don't think he's a good fit here. But would I mind it? No. Yeah, especially if it's only for like a season or two. Why not? But yeah, I just don't think he's the best fit.
The basketball fit is horrendous.
Yeah.
Like on the court, it's an absolute, it makes zero sense at all. But if we're talking about not tanking this year, but just chalking this year up as a developmental year, an evaluation year, like he would be the perfect mentor for Jaden Ivey. And if I'm not mistaken, they have history together too. Do they have a connection, Westbrook and Jaden Ivey?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've trained together already.
Yeah, okay,
this
that's
goes
what you were
back
saying.
to even this goes back to before his pro days.
Yeah.
They have a connection.
So just knowing how to be a professional, like you said, he brings all those leadership qualities you would want. To a young team like this.
Definitely got a Detroit attitude.
He does.
That's what I'm saying.
He got an attitude made for this city.
Could he come here and be Detroit's Jimmy Butler?
Yes, I think he could.
11 points a game. I don't know.
And
I don't know.
Let me tell you what he did say about Jaden Ivey, because we kind of knew about the connection. And shout out to Corey Woods of the M Live, who actually got this quote and used it in his article as well. But I remember this question. He said, Jaden and I talked throughout the year. I try to stay in his ear, and he's going to be special, Westbrook said. He has all the intangibles to do great things in this league. He knows to continue working on his game, continue working at it. But he's going to be just fine. Detroit has someone special. So I'm looking forward to great things for him in years to come. And it's like sometimes you think about it, you're like, you know what? If you're trying to look for these kind of disgruntled situations, especially for someone like the Clippers, who are probably going to make sure they can maximize in the championship window, have to get rid of some of their draft capital. I wonder how attractive those 3 second-round picks look to a team like the Clippers if you're talking about making a swap for a guy like a Russell Westbrook.
You have to give up
for
3?
a year or two. No. I'm just any of them. Just any of them. You would never give. I don't even think
I thought they would
want
to. We'd get another pick with Westbrook.
Well, it's $5 million.
think.
You're not really taking something off of them, and that's what I'm saying. So for a $5 million contract, do you have a player that they like, a young player that you're going to give up? Are you giving up a guy like a Sasser, or are you giving up a second-round pick
Not for Russ.
to take a flyer on a guy like a Russell Westbrook?
Yeah, this changes everything if we got to give up a young player. Not that the Pistons or anything to write home about, but I'm not giving up Sasser for a year rental of Russ. No offense.
No, I would give up one of the seconds, though.
Yeah.
It helps the Clippers be able to kind of bolster some type of draft capital. Gets the Pistons a vet that, honestly, off the bench, you're talking about a person who some of the negatives, you can contain him a little bit more coming off the bench and being more of a high usage guy. But
I mean, another thing
you made
is
some good points though. KG.
Would he even want to play here though? Because I can easily see him coming here and asking for a buyout as well.
He's our tell him guy
to go to a better franchise.
If he came here, he is a tell him guy. And breaking news: Tyrese Maxey agrees to 5-year, $204 million extension.
I was just gonna say that as well too. But how does Philly have all this money? Because you're paying Paul George $211 million for 4 years. You're now paying Maxey $204 million for 5 years. You still have to pay Joel Embiid $106 million for the next 2 years.
That was the only reason why I thought
How do you
that
have
there
this
was
money?
some slight
right
possibility that Tyrese Maxey could find himself on another team. But Philly is, I think they're saying we have to win a championship. And we're going to see a lot of teams do this.
You better work. The process is dead, man. They better work.
And this is like the complete opposite of the process. Is Philly going to strike out here as well? I'm
not a big Andre Drummond fan. I'm really not. But I actually think that's a perfect landing spot for him.
It's so funny he went to the guy that tormented him for the first half of his
exactly.
career. Like, it's nuts, man, that he's there now.
I know.
Wow.
It is. And shout out Oklahoma City Thunder and free agent Aaron Wiggins have agreed to a new 5-year, $47 million deal.
Yes. Well, let's take a little break from Pistons talk. Let's talk Red Wings.
Yes,
Since they made some moves already, or at least moves that are going to happen, we can think of at 12 o'clock here with Patrick Kane and then the NHL draft. So let's spend a segment talking about the Wings, spend a segment talking about the Tigers.
Let's go.
And we can jump back into the Pistons. We're going to be talking about them a lot this week.
Yeah.